welcome to the Strive for Success Stories video series. The word strive is defined as making great efforts to obtain or achieve something. Another definition is to struggle or fight vigorously. Now, defining success is something only you can do. I am your host, Conleigh Spencer, personal injury attorney, cheese enthusiast, hopeless addict to all things business, marketing, leadership development, and a pageant junkie. Strive for Success Stories is a video series that showcases the personal and professional development and success of pageant women across this great country. Without further ado, let's bring on our guest. Welcome, Conleigh. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Hello. Well, thank you for having me on, first of all. I'm Conleigh Gilmore, and I own a business called Upgrades by Con, which is actually getting a new face soon. Soon to be Icon Collective and Tanning. I'm super excited about it. We're in the middle of repainting the space that I work in and rebranding with some of my own personal products. So I'm super excited about that. I graduated from Troy in 2016 with a degree in communications, broadcast journalism, and PR. And I recently, as of the week before Miss Alabama USA, the first week of January, became an esthetician. So I also work in Montgomery 3 part-time as an esthetician in a doctor's office. So my hands are full all the time.
Yes, and I think this will probably be a trend with every pageant retiree or current pageant contestant that comes on, because pageant women are the busiest women, and that's why they succeed, and that's why they pursue pageantry. So I guess we'll start there. How did you discover pageantry? What system was the first one that you were involved in? What systems have you been involved in? So kind of the cliff notes of pageantry, how you started.
Sure. So my mom was definitely one of those moms that had me out there at 2 years old in the middle of Dothan, Wiregrass Commons Mall in a pageant. And then several of my babysitters growing up were Alpha Gams at Troy, who competed in the Miss Alabama system for America. And so when I was old enough, I became a rising star for the America system for Miss Alabama's. And then soon after that, I started competing. I never competed in teen, but I won Miss Pike County and went to Miss National Peanut Festival, and that kind of kicked off my pageant career. So after that, I competed in 32 Miss Alabama preliminaries, and this year competed at Miss USA for the first time. Miss Alabama USA.
So we're definitely going to want to dive into all of those different areas of pageantry that you've been involved in. So I can't actually remember if we met through the National Peanut Festival first or we met through Alpha Gam. Do you remember?
Yeah, no, we met the night you were crowned Miss Troy was the first night that we met. And I was there because the Miss Troy previously had won Miss National Peanut Festival, and she was not physically allowed to touch the crown. So I put the crown on your head.
Yes, and I did not remember that. I completely forgot that happened until I was looking for old pictures of us after you competed a few weeks ago in Miss Alabama USA, and I thought, what a crazy way that the world works, that you actually crowned me the first title that I ever held, which was in the National Peanut Festival. So both of us found titles in the National Peanut Festival system, I think pretty easily. Tell us about your experience at the Miss National Peanut Festival for those that probably don't know anything about it unless you are from deep South Alabama. So tell us a little bit about the system, the categories, and then your success while you were there.
So as Miss Pike County, I started my year off learning about peanuts because the National Peanut Festival, you're the queen of peanuts, and all of the peanuts, like a third of the peanuts in the whole world. So probably if you've eaten peanuts recently, they've come from within 100 miles of Dothan, Alabama, which is crazy to me. So you go to Miss National Peanut Festival, they sequester you completely. They take your phone away. You're not allowed to have
I remember another woman that was there got a word and she didn't want to answer it, so she just changed it. And I don't remember if it was comedy or humor, but she just like picked a funny word and told about her sense of humor, but it was a little awkward because her word was a very serious word. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
It was abuse. It was like
Yeah.
relationship abuse or like domestic violence or something, and she just decided that she was going to talk about humor.
I mean, it was her 20 seconds of fame and she could do with it what she wanted, and that's what she chose. So, I mean, very bold. I commend her for the bravery. I was not that bold to ever do something like that. I'm a rule follower, so I'm going to answer. I'm going to talk about the word that you give me. But you said peanut knowledge, and I want you to talk about that a little.
Actually, you are given an exam, and it's like a 3-page exam, multiple choice questions, essay form, um, true false, all different kinds of questions about peanuts, how they're grown, where they're grown, what happens to them, how they're harvested, how they're your favorite way to eat them, everything that you could possibly need to know about peanuts. And all of the girls are encouraged to go and spend an entire day with a peanut farmer, which isn't hard to find around here, thankfully.
I just really wanted you to dive into that so people can understand what it is, because the further removed I get from that system, looking back, that is so crazy. It's nuts, to say the least. But gosh, I can already hear my mom being like, "Why did you try to make a joke during this? You're not funny." But yeah, it was a crazy system. But for me, that was the first like big pageant I'd ever been in. When I won Miss Troy, I didn't even know there was another one after it until afterwards. They said, "Oh, so you're going to Miss National Peanut Festival?" I said, "Miss National what?" So that was my first, I guess, state level competition. Tell us a little bit about what happened while you were there. I believe that you had some success in the system.
I did. I ended up making top 10 and I got top 5 in verbal communication and something else.
I
I don't
think
even
you
really
won
remember.
best gown or something, or you were top 5 gown, I think.
Maybe.
I remember you were
I
just
could have
racking them
gown.
up.
Yeah.
Well, you had the most beautiful gown I'd ever seen. I'm pretty sure I told you I wanted to get married in it.
Yes. And a girl bought it for me the next year and wore it to Miss National Peanut Festival, and she actually won best gown in it. So
That's amazing. So you had this success in the National Peanut Festival, and then you transitioned to the Miss America organization. And I, just like you, missed out on the teen portion of it. I really regret it because I feel like I was made for the teen. I want to do the little fitness routine, but we both missed it. So we started out as a Miss, which for a lot of women that compete in the Miss America organization, that's a little late. We're a little late to the game. It takes us a little bit of time to catch up. So, talk to me about when you first started Miss America, why you started in the system, and then I know it was a journey. So, walk me through your journey in the Miss America organization.
I started in the Miss America organization because I loved pageants. I mean, I loved that this is a place where women, like-minded women, come together to compete for titles that give them platforms to share their stories, to change the lives of other people, to inspire younger women. So I love that, and that is why I started being in the Miss America organization. Also, I was a rising star, so I knew all of the glitz and glam that went along with the Miss
I remember my very first one. It was Miss Rocket City, which doesn't exist anymore. It was in the Huntsville area. And I had never competed in a pageant. I had never even watched Miss America at this point in time. And we're staying at the hotel because we had to be there at 7 a.m. This place is 3.5 hours from where I live. So we had stayed in a hotel the night before, my mom and I. And here I am. I am freshly 18 years old. I am a senior in high school. And we're in the hotel lobby getting breakfast. And I see this girl who is just like glammed up, but not. It was very casual, but she looked fantastic. And she's getting her coffee. And I leaned over to my mom and I said, I think that girl's competing. And my mom was like, how would you know that? We're at a random hotel. Like, there's no way. Oh, she was competing. She won and then went on to win Miss Alabama. So to say that maybe there is some sort of look, I don't think it was how she looked so much as how she carried herself. And she knew. She knew that she was the best one there. And then she took it all the way to Miss Alabama and Miss America. So I remember being like, okay, I have a long way to go before I am on that level. So it just opens your eyes. So you and I share something in common. We competed and lost a lot of times. I joke that I think I might actually have like a world record for losing the most pageants in a row because it's like 42. And I think you're the next person I know that's closest. So I think in a way we're winners because we kept going, especially now that it's not as fresh. Because I think this resonates with women way more than these like amazing winning stories or I tried 3 times and finally I won. And I'm like, finally? You don't know what finally means. And I mean, everyone has their own story and their own truth, but the girls that end up winning their state title and they're like, oh, I had to compete 7 times and on my last try. And I'm like, you were in the top 5 like 6 times. I'm over here like trying to win a local. So your story doesn't make me feel bad for you, but I think there's a lot to be learned from being so determined and tenacious and keeping going. So I want to hear your advice for people that are struggling to win, but also I want you to tell me as like deep as you can what it felt like losing that many times, because I think it's good to really channel that emotion because it's not very positive because I've been there, and how you overcame it each time, because sometimes it was weekend after weekend and you and I were right there together, we were doing it, and I think that's important for people to hear and realize that it's normal and it's okay, and you can grow throughout this process.
Yeah, so comparison is definitely the thief of all joy. Just keeping that in mind when if you're out there competing for a local over and over again, it just hasn't happened for you. Not that I was walking into every single preliminary or local thinking that, oh, that girl's gonna win. It definitely wasn't like that. Like, I would show up in the morning with a great attitude, and then sometime after interview, I just remember wanting to leave. I had a really hard time
what was it that kept you coming back? How did you find that motivation? I know that I hit a wall probably 5 times really hard in the 42. There'd be this glimmer of hope every once in a while, and I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. And then there'd be like 5 times where nothing happened. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't place, whatever it may be. And I remember almost quitting probably about 5 times. Legitimately, of course, every time after I didn't win, I did this whole, look, oh, I'm not coming back. It's just not, obviously it's not in the cards for me. And then 2 days later, I bounced back. But there were about 4 or 5 times where I was pretty adamant. And so I know that that probably happened to you. And I'm just wondering, how did you overcome that feeling of maybe this really isn't for me and I'm just spinning my wheels, and pick yourself up to say, no, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it?
Yeah, I think it's because I knew that I had an incredible story to share, and I knew that I could impact people, and I wanted that so bad. Like, I wanted other women who were going through the same things that I was going through to know that they weren't the only ones, that it was okay for, your life to not be perfect, and you can still accomplish whatever you want through hard work and determination. And I mean, now I have as an adult, and it just didn't happen the way, like through the Miss Alabama program, that I thought that it would. It really has happened through Instagram and through my business and things like that. But if I hadn't been through all of those Miss Alabama preliminaries and learned, the thing that kept me coming back was knowing that I could. Like, it's not impossible, but it is impossible if you quit. Like, it's never going to happen if you don't show up. So just knowing that and keeping that in my mind, I think, is what kept driving me, pushing me to continue on with that dream, because it is something that I had always wanted.
So I feel like you've kind of already answered this, but if you could put your finger on one thing that competing in the Miss America organization specifically taught you, do you have that like one lesson that you really took away?
Gosh, so many. There's so many things that I learned. Probably number one being that I really needed a therapist. Probably number two being that it's okay to fail. It's totally okay, and we're going to fail way more times than we win. And even if, like you said earlier, some people's failures are, I tried 3 times before this happened, or I tried 7 times before this happened. And now as an adult, like, that translates, a lot of my friends now are having babies, and like some of them are like, oh my God, I tried for 3 months. And some of them are like, oh my God, I've been trying for 5 years. So just keeping that faith and holding on to, that it can happen when you show up and when you want it. And even if you do show up and want it, and you may be, the most delicious taco in the whole world, but those people are looking for a donut. Like, you're just not, you're still delicious. You are absolutely divine. You're just what you're looking for.
I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, I wish she had gotten to say that in her Miss Alabama interview, because that is gold. So speaking of, we're gonna transition to the USA system. So you did Miss America organization 3-4 years? Couple years. I don't know how many, but you did 30 something prelims. So now you have experienced the Miss USA system, and I know that your sisters competed for a while. So tell me a little bit about what you think of when you think of the Miss USA system, and then we'll start talking about some of the similarities and differences.
Okay, well, what I think of now when I think of the Miss USA system is so different from what I thought of the Miss USA system when I was competing for Miss America.
I agree.
I'd just like to go ahead and say that, because things were so different. What was that, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
6 years ago?
It was a while. We're getting old.
So I loved competing at Miss Alabama USA. I was just thinking about it earlier today. Even during the midst of the pandemic, like, everyone was so positive, and everyone was so happy to be there. I think we were all so chill because we've not got to do anything else all year, and we're finally there together, like, getting to experience this, incredible event that we didn't even think was really going to happen. So everyone
I could not agree more. And that's it. It hurts my heart when people have these negative thoughts about pageantry and seeing all this stuff that's come out in the past couple years about how it's derogatory towards women and different things like that, because I couldn't disagree more. And the people that compete in it are so phenomenal. And I think everyone that makes that kind of statement doesn't know a pageant girl. I just don't think it's possible for you to know somebody that's competed in pageants and say anything negative about the program. And we will get into some of that, because these programs teach you personal, professional skills that you can use to go be super successful in life, even if you're not successful in the pageant system and ever win the crown that you're vying for, if that makes sense. So what would you say is the thing that's most similar between Miss America and Miss USA, and most different?
Most similar definitely draws in the same kind of people, I think, is the similarity there. You don't go to a pageant and compete if you aren't looking for um, some attention, some fame, have a story to tell, have, an important, message to share with people. Um, so, like I said earlier, it draws in the same kind of people. The differences now are vast. Back when I competed, it was largely believed that the Miss USA system was vain, I think, is the way that it was always presented to me. And I never competed in the USA system because that it was vanity and just you were hot and that was it. You had no substance. But I can tell you from being there this year, these women had just as much, if not more, substance than the women that I met in the Miss America system.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about 6 years ago. That was sort of how I viewed it, that it truly was a beauty pageant, and that at 5 feet tall and as like a just normal looking person, I would never be pretty enough or enough like a model to ever do well, and that what was in my brain didn't matter. And I would agree that over the last 3 years, as I've been paying attention more, I'm like, they're all about women empowerment and being these powerful, driven people that are part of society, and they're trying to make the world better. And that's what Miss America is supposed to be about too. So I've definitely seen a huge shift, and I've seen a lot of friends that are now migrating to the USA system from Miss America, which there's so much drama going on there, which probably could be like a whole hour discussion, so we won't get into that. But I want to ask one more like specific pageant question, and then I want to ask some questions about you, because one of the things that I want to do with this series and having guests come on is showing people all the things that they've done through pageantry, their journey, what they've learned, and then how they found success in life doing other things. And whether it's directly or indirectly from their time in pageantry, it plays a role. And it goes back to anyone that says anything negative about pageantry doesn't know someone that's competed. And so we're trying to make that a little bit better and show people how incredible and talented and successful the pageant women are later in life. So what do you think is the biggest lesson? I asked about Miss America already. So Miss USA, what do you think was the biggest lesson that you took away from that experience?
The biggest lesson that I took away from my weekend at Miss Alabama is I don't want this to come off like self-centered or like I'm like obsessed with myself or anything, but leaving Miss America prelims, as we talked about earlier, a lot of times I felt less than, like I felt like I wasn't good enough. And leaving Miss Alabama USA
They wanted donuts.
They had their hearts. They were craving
That's
something
it.
else.
There's no other explanation. I love it. And what's so interesting about this is just to see, because I was there when you were in the Miss America organization, and I was right there with you, like not going home with the outcome I wanted. And I remember seeing that you were defeated, and to see the transformation and how confident you are in yourself, because and you talked about it earlier, you didn't know yourself, you didn't love yourself when you were doing Miss America, and that's the difference now. And that's why the outcome was, though not exactly what you wanted, the outcome was still better, because you knew yourself, you loved yourself, and you were able to show that and leave with all the confidence in the world that that doesn't define you, and you're successful in other areas of your life. And as much as you wanted it, you didn't need it to know that you are worthy. And we talked about this as we were getting you ready for preparation, and I was asking, what outcome do you want? And you said at one point, you said, I don't know how I'm gonna feel at the end. And you were kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna be distraught. Am I gonna be upset if this doesn't work out? Am I gonna feel like I'm enough? And you got a little emotional, and you were like, am I trying to just prove something to myself? And what if I don't? And I remember saying, you're not going to know till it's over, because 2 years ago when I told you the story is when I went to Miss North Carolina 2019, I fully planned on winning. I didn't have an apartment to live in when it was over. I was all in. And I remember my mindset was, Mom, here's my suitcase for me to stay at the hotel because I'm going to be the winner. I'm not going home. But I told my roommate, I said, you cannot be there when I get back, because if I'm coming home, I'm probably going to be in meltdown mode because I'll be so devastated, because I have planned everything on winning. And I didn't even make top 5. I only made top 10. And I remember going backstage and kind of wondering, once it's over and I can like stop pretending, am I going to be okay? And sitting there and being like, that was the best I could have done. And my best just wasn't, I was a taco and they wanted some donuts, and there wasn't anything I could have done differently or better. And I remember sitting there and I was like, it's not even fake. I'm really happy. I'm really happy how this turned out. And I think everyone was really scared of me that night, because everyone knew, and they were like, do we need to get you pizza? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm great. Yeah, let's get pizza. And I'm pretty sure my mom was wondering if she needed to check me in somewhere, that if I was going to be okay. But it's crazy that you don't know till the end. But it's when that happens, it's because you were 100% worthy and 100% qualified. You just weren't their cup of tea on that day. And that's a really cool feeling. And I think both of us over the years have grown as people or in our personal lives to where we know that, yeah, it would be great to win. That would be awesome. And we worked really hard for it. And at the end, we're like, but this doesn't define me. Like, I don't need this to feel like my life is a success. So it's a really cool feeling. And I'm glad that you got to feel it, because I told you, I was like, you won't know till it's over. You can't, you can plan all you want. I mean, I was 100% planning on being just absolutely devastated if I didn't win, and I was like, I did everything I wanted to do. It's fine. So I want to know, what is the biggest personal success that you've had in life, and then we'll do professional.
Okay, so professional success, for sure, starting my own business. I didn't know how that was going to go, and to be completely honest, I didn't have a job for 6 months before I started my own business. I started it out of necessity because I was broke. Okay, broke. Very broke. I was without a job, and I had been applying for sales positions. I really wanted to be in the skincare game. I wanted to be in pharmaceutical skincare sales. And I was pushing so hard. I did so many interviews for pretty much every company you could possibly name in all of the surrounding states. Okay, I made it to final rounds of like 7 or 8 different interviews. And again, I was the taco that nobody was craving that day. Which
Well, Conleigh, you are so wonderful. I love talking to you. So, the last question I'll ask, besides seeing a therapist, what would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give people listening? It can be pageant related, it can be business related, it can be about, finding yourself, loving yourself, anything. The floor is yours to kind of talk about whatever you want and put good out into the world.
Ask for help. Ask for help because I think a lot of us are scared that people don't have time for us or that people don't want to help us or, we're afraid of no too much to like ask for what we really want. But that couldn't be more far from the truth. And if there's anything that I can ever do to help anyone that's listening, reach out to me on Instagram. My email's there, my text messages are there. Like you can find my phone number anywhere. And I'm more than happy to help you. And I can say that for all of the women that I've met through pageantry too. We are here for each other. We're here to support each other. We're here to help each other be better in like every way possible. And so, but the only way that you're ever going to get that is if you ask, because nobody's just going to like scoop you up and be like, here, you need this. Let me give it to you. So reach out and ask for help if you want it. And if you don't want it, then that's totally fine too. And let me think if there's anything else that I would want to say to anyone, especially someone competing like in pageants that hopefully you don't have the same experience that Carly and I did. Hopefully you win on your third or fourth try. But sometimes that doesn't happen, and it's okay to keep going. There's no downside in continuing, even if at some point you think that it might not be for you. Like we went through that. Like if it's something that you want to do, even if you think that it's not for you, change your thought process, because if you think that it's not for you, you're probably not going to get it. And B, show up and show out and love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, then stop.
No, I think that's great advice. And going to helping people, Conleigh is 100% on point, and she will literally help anyone. I know that she helped a bunch of local businesses in Troy, Alabama when COVID happened, help promote their businesses and things like that. So she's the first person to lend help to someone else. And so I think it's really cool that you're the person that usually does the helping and you're like, just ask for help. And we do need to be able to do that, rely on each other and lean on each other more, especially during hard times. So I think that's good advice, especially for the pageant women. I know you and I think, really struggled asking for help when we weren't winning. I know I thought I could figure it all out eventually. It was just that next one was going to be the one, and I was going to be able to figure it out. And it wasn't until like number 38 that I finally went and saw somebody and got help. And then like a couple prelims later, finally won. So asking for help is important because you can't see it from all angles, and there's so many different perspectives and opinions, and if you don't ask, you'll never know. But thank you so much for coming on. I will make sure to link all your information so people can find you in the show notes, and it's been a treat. I always love talking to you.
I love you so much. You're the most amazing person that I know.
That's you.
So thankful that pageants brought us together, and I'm so happy for you and your success in this podcast, and just honored that you even asked me to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great night.